All right, this is Mr. Buddy Pendleton, world champion fiddler player. And what I wanted to ask you, Mr. Buddy, now that you've got this new CD coming out, do you feel like this is probably one of the best you've put out with all the talent that you have?
There is a lot of variety. I was thinking about that recently, and I hope everybody out there will get tuned in on that variety and enjoy it as much as we do.
The previous ones. Well, I know you've put out a lot of CDs, and I know you've played a lot of shows, and you're very popular with everybody. I mean, Buddy Pendleton's name is widespread, and so I was really excited to interview you today. If nobody's figured it out, you do play the fiddle.
Well, I like to try. I've had a lot of fun trying down through the years to get it to sound right there. A fiddle is something you have to wrestle with a little bit. It's pretty easy to make sour notes, and so you have to keep fighting it.
When's the first time that you picked up a fiddle?
Santa Claus brought me a fiddle when I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I started woodshed type of practicing. I guess some of my brothers and sisters thought I never would learn to play the thing, but after a while I learned to keep a tune and then keep time, and so I had an uncle that was a pretty good fiddler, my Uncle Delmar Pendleton, and after I learned to play a little bit, I had a handy source of a lot of fiddle tunes, because he'd been playing a lot of years and learned a lot of fiddle tunes like Soldier's Joy and Mississippi Sawyers and Old Richmond, I believe, and several tunes in that category that he knew that I could pick up on after I got to where I could keep time a little bit. And he had a daughter also that played guitar, so that worked out pretty good.
And the first time that you ever performed in front of a live audience, when was that?
My mother and myself used to play some in church. I pretty much grew up at a Pentecostal holiness church there at Buffalo Ridge, not too far from Woolwine, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And so I played guitar some back then, and banjo a little bit. And then the first time I remember entering you mentioned fiddle competition. First time I remember entering a fiddle contest, they had a competition tied in with the county fair there at Stewart, Virginia, and so I had good luck at that one. Came out with a blue ribbon, so I got all excited, about fiddlers contest then after that, and started branching out more and going farther away from home and getting into some of the bigger conventions in our area.
Well, I know you've won many awards in different competitions, and I know that you've inspired so many people to play the fiddle, and I was wondering what you would tell a young person that's coming up wanting to keep the same traditional values, how they would go about it.
Well, I guess a lot of them go to the Galax Fiddlers conventions, and you can still hear quite a few of the old tunes that have been around the mountains for a long time, and then there's a few of us that have been recording some of those tunes. There's one out now called the Crooked Roads, one of the Crooked Roads CDs that John Logan's organization has been behind. I think there's about 12 or 13 of those Crooked Roads CDs, and there's a lot of this old-time music recorded. The one I was on, it's called Delivers CD. Buddy Pendleton Delivers, maybe is the title to it, and it's all together instrumentals, and there's several.
And that's your CD.
Right, that's one of the 12 or 13 I mentioned, and so there's several of the old time traditional fiddle tunes on that CD.
Okay. And is there anybody alive or that's passed away that inspired you to pick that fiddle up and keep going?
When I first started to learn, I used to listen to Tommy Jackson some on the Grand Ole Opry, and he had a few records out, and so I started listening to him some in addition to my Uncle Delma, and there was a few other fiddlers, good fiddlers that I got tuned in on. One fiddler I haven't heard from in a long time was Buddy Durham. I believe he was from West Virginia. There used to be some of his records being played on radio, and I may have bought one or two of his. And before that, I used to hear on one of the old time crank up record players, I used to hear some Charlie Poole and maybe Jimmy Rogers, and also Riley Puckett was a pretty good guitar player, and I used to get interested in their music, and then finally I not right in the beginning, but after a while I started hearing some Howard Forster fiddling, and that really did turn me on, and so I bought some of his records, and he played a lot of what I'd sometimes call longbow style fiddling, where it's real smooth and all his notes flowed together good and didn't get chopped up too much anywhere, you know. So I really did enjoy listening to his recordings. I don't believe I ever met him. I wish I'd managed to meet him and maybe had a little jam session with him and see if some of that would have rubbed off on me.